Hello and welcome to my focus group featuring Tia and Amal, who are huge fans of the genre rock and are ideal for my focus group. So starting off, we're going to look at the Kerrang magazine, which is in front of them on the table. So guys, what do you like about the style of the font used?
The header, the one that says Kerrang, it's the epitome of rock. It's really shattered and distressed, and I think that's linked to rock music as a genre, so that heading's really good.
Yeah, and even just the other font for the titles and whatnot, it's very bold. There's not one consistent one, it's quite a few, so I think that kind of changes it up and not make it boring to look at.
Yep.
So.
Is there a variation in font, and do you like the variation?
Yeah, there is a variation. Obviously the classic rock heading for the word Kerrang, and then the little snippets of what's inside the magazine are kind of done like a handwriting type way, so I think that's a more personal touch, and it's a little bit more appealing because it's not just the same thing and it's not repetitive.
So looking at the NME magazine, what do you want to say about the text, the font used on it?
Well, I like that for the quote, for the artist, it's in a different font, which makes it stand out from the actual title, because the title itself is very bold, but the quote's kind of in a more less bold font, and so it kind of, you can still see it, but it's not the main attention.
I think the way the main header is done, not the enemy bit, this bit, it's very punky, and it kind of fits in with the whole vibe of the whole magazine, and I'm assuming the story. It links in with the genre really well. So, and it's really bold, and it fits in nicely with everything else. It's not the same as everything else, but it's similar, so it keeps to the same theme.
Okay, that's nice. So do you think the positioning of the bands, or like the artists in this case, is important, like on the Kerrang and the NME?
Yeah, because in Kerrang, for example, the artist, he's holding a book, and the main story is about his kind of diary and whatnot, so it kind of already gives you a taste of what the article's going to be like. So I think that's kind of important, because first thing obviously you see is the cover, and so to know from the cover what the article's going to be like, I think that's important, because it kind of influences you when you first buy it.
Yes, and also because if you look at a magazine that you buy every week, as this is a weekly one, and there's somebody on the front, like a massive picture of their face, and you don't like them, then you're wasting money to buy it. So obviously it's so clear about what it's about, what the main feature is, and I think it's really good, and especially when you're a fangirl of the band, it gets you hyped up to see that your favourite guy's face is like this big. So that's all good.
That's good. So do you think that these magazines have links to alternative rock or the rock field? Do you get it through these front covers?
Yeah.
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 Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, because it's all, I mean, I guess other magazines are bold as well, but I think it's obvious through the images of the band members. I mean, you see, not being stereotypical at all, but you see a guy with tattoos and piercings, and you kind of know, okay, he's in a rock band.
Yeah.
Again, not like judging at all, but it's through the images of the bands where it's a bit more obvious.
I think it's quite interesting because this one is really punky. She's wearing a tartan shirt, she's got messed up hair, the writing and everything. It's very clearly punk rock or alternative rock. But this one, it's quite a weird addition for Kerrang, because it's got a blue background with yellow writing.
Yeah.
And that's not something that you can actually associate, especially with the main feature.
Yeah.
Their name is Black Veil Brides. Black. Like the emphasis on the black, it's all very dark, and the yellow is really weird. It's a very punky colour, but it's very strange. It's the font and the way the pictures are laid out is very rocky, but the colours they work, but it's just not conventional. And there's like lightning bolts on the page and everything, so typical things to link with rock as well.
Okay, so moving on to the contents page, if you want to. Yay. Do you like the colours that are carried on here? Like looking at the NME magazine, the reds that were used in the front, and the yellow that was used in Kerrang, which is used again. Do you like how this links the both together?
Yeah, it kind of keeps the theme running and it's not messy, because if it was a different colour it would kind of disrupt the theme and the vibe of the whole magazine.
Yeah, it's just very consistent and not kind of confused or, you know.
Yeah. And looking at the Kerrang magazine, there's one main image. Would you prefer that, or at the NME magazine where there's 2 images? Which would you prefer?
Well, it depends how good the image is.
Yeah, it depends on who the image is, and if it's I haven't read this, so I don't know. But if the image is of someone that's only got a small feature in the magazine, it's kind of pointless. So I think the one in the Kerrang is slightly better because it's a big image of somebody else he's not quite big enough to be on the cover, but it's a big enough slot to go in the contents page. So I think one image in this instance is better.
Yeah, well, not necessarily all the time.
No,
it's just it depends.
And also sometimes they get a bit clogged because the contents pages, they have adverts, they have the actual contents, they have features, they have editors' letters. It's really bulky and there's a lot of stuff in it. So if you have too many pictures, I think it takes away from what you actually need to find.
What
in
the content page is for.
Yeah.
Looking down the sides where the headings are for, and then underneath you've got the numbers. Do you like those headings? Like, is it convenient for you when you're finding page numbers or trying to find an article you want to read?
Yeah, because it kind of gives kind of categories for it. So, for example, there's one called News, which is clearly about news. One called Live Reviews, again clearly about live reviews. So it kind of, like, when I open a magazine and I'm thinking, oh, okay, I want to read a review, I know exactly where to go, because it kind of like narrows it down rather than searching for the entire contents page just to find something in a review. And same for NME, like, it's very clear where, you know, everything is.
And I think it's also good that, especially in Kerrang, they put the band or the artist in a subheading under the main heading, so that's really easy to look at as well. And I think both of them have like a little blurb type thing saying what it is about. So if you didn't understand what a live review was, and then there's your favourite band there, you can have a quick look about what it is and then turn to that page if you want to. So I think that's really helpful.
Oh, that's nice. So looking at the editor's letter on Kerrang, do you like seeing editor's letters? I don't know.
I like seeing ones like that because he's making a fool of himself in the picture. But I read it occasionally if the picture's like catchy, because otherwise I'm not really interested in what he has to say. But if the picture is catchy, that's what's going to catch my eye more than little writing, so it all depends, I think.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to the double page.
What page is it?
Yeah, it's that one. Yeah, that's the one. How could you link all 3 of these pages together? Like, are there any giveaways in these magazines that links all 3 of the pages together, like the front, the contents, and the double?
The font, because in NME the font used for the title or the quote, is the exact same font as for the front page, so that obviously makes the link and makes it obvious that there's like again a theme.
Yeah.
In the Kerrang one, it kind of shifts a bit because in the Kerrang there's so many different subgenres of rock. You can't have bright yellow and blue for every single page. So I think they're the first that they kept it consistent throughout kind of neutral pages. But when it comes to a certain band or a certain genre like this one, in the double spread, they kind of change it a bit and they go with their more traditional black and red because it fits the band more, it fits the article more. So I think in terms of that, it fits, but not
completely.
Not consistently.
So I know that you 2 have read the Kerrang magazine. Do you like how they have an interview in the magazine?
I think interviews are always the best because if you get an article, it's often quite biased. Well, not all the time, but sometimes facts can get mixed up, and I think it's more exciting for fans, especially. I think in this one it's an interview as well. If the band is speaking themselves, because then you get it straight from the horse's mouth, and it's more personal.
Do these double page spreads look appealing to you? Do they like draw you in and make you want to read about them?
I think the images certainly, I mean, they're, you know, again, I think Liliane, the artist, she's literally taken up an entire page, you know, it's very in your face. Again, with this, the band, they're, you know, posing in the typical rock and roll way, and it's all very in your face. And I mean, you see the image and it's like, oh, okay, I like that artist, and then you go on to the reading. You know, the image is the first thing that hits you, so that makes it very appealing because it that determines whether or not you want to read it.
And I'm not quite sure with this one, but the Kerrang one, you can clearly see it's an interview because the questions or the statements are in red, and then there's a paragraph of speech afterwards. So if I looked at that, it just looked like an article, and I was just like,
Yeah.
let's read the big one. In this one, it's quite clear what's it about, and sometimes you don't want to read certain questions.
Yeah.
You want to read the interesting stuff, so
Yeah.
you go to that question, and it's really clear to see what's what is what.
So you both can see a clear difference between the images used in Kerrang and NME. Like the Kerrang one has a variation, has one main image and then a variation of others. And in the NME has just Lily Allen. Which one looks more nicer or appealing to you?
Kerrang,
Yeah.
because it's with one image, it's good, but it's kind of boring. So it's like just that one bang
Yeah.
in your face image. There's like a couple, and with Kerrang, I love how they have little bits of writing underneath the
Yeah, like
images.
funny puns.
Because it's like,
underneath.
yeah,
Yes.
jokes and whatnot, so then that's always something to like
I
look forward
think-
to reading.
I think though NME have got it right for them in this one because I don't think they have posters in their magazines very often. So I think that classes as a poster, I would say anyway. So it's a big image, it's very bold. But in this one they have like loads of posters in every issue anyway. So to have massive pictures of each band on each page is, I think it's a step too far because it is mainly about the writing and the little pictures are really useful and stuff. So yeah.
So just looking at music magazines overall, would you like to have posters like frequently in the magazines or
Yes.
like freebies or anything?
Freebies all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, posters are really good because, especially type of people who buy Kerrang, they're a little bit obsessive.
Maybe.
Myself included, it's fine. So yeah, it's a nice little treat for yourself to get a lovely poster.
Yes.
Yeah.
And freebies are always nice.
Yeah, it's
That's
like
alright.
sometimes I buy the magazine purely because one of my favourite bands has a poster in it.
Yep.
Like literally, like they say, it's like, I'm subscribed to the newsletter, so I get information the day before it comes out of what's going to be included. So I always
Okay.
kind of like skim through that, and if I see there's a poster of my favourite band, I was like, okay, getting it. So that
Yeah,
kind of
it's more
counts,
appealing
yeah.
because if there wasn't any posters, I would pretty much just read it on the internet or borrow it off a friend because they won't let me borrow their posters. But I think getting it for yourself, you have that thing that you can keep for yourself, and you have the interviews and whatnot. So yeah, freebies are always good anyway. So
Yay.
it's alright.
So yeah, thank you guys. That's all for today. And I might come grab you guys later on. Who knows?
Thank you.
Thank you.